Okay, so here I'm just going to be putting the pigments into the cup using the Nikon Blue first. Here you'll just see how much I'm going to put on the stick. I probably use about 2 little heapings full here. That should be plenty pigment for what I'm doing. And just adding a tad little bit more. So today I'm using the eye candy pigments that I received, giving them a good try just to see how the colors turn out, what they're doing. This is the Okinawa, I think it's the Okinawa green. And again, just a couple of scoops into the cup. And then I've got the Okinawa Blue. So I got these pigments from the States, and I got a box of 30 as a sample pack. This, you know, for a sample pack you get quite a bit of pigment, which I'm very pleased about. Gives you a good chance to try them out and try them in different things. And then if you like them, then you can also go and order a large container of them. Here's the Just Resin Titanium White I'm also using to get my waves. So again, just a small, I'm just going to stir it here. Make sure it's well mixed first. Nothing like, you know, you want to make sure it's well incorporated before you do anything, because sometimes things settle. So I just gave it a good stir. There's a good amount on my stick. That shall be plenty for the waves that I'm doing today. Alright, so now I'm just adding the resin into the cups. And again, I'm using the Just Resin Ocean Coat. This is about my second or third time trialing this new brand. They have changed their formula the last couple of years. This one is definitely a lot thicker, and when you mix it, it is a bit creamy and does get quite a few bubbles. But they do seem to blow out well when you heat them. So we're going to give it a go to see how well it works and if it gives me that ocean, you know, selling that I want. Now, I do have an old picnic board that I had previously done, and nothing wrong with it, but because today I wanted to use the pigments, I thought I would just go over top and maybe enhance what's already there, and just to have a good look at the new pigments. So I'm just stirring it well. I just want to make sure it's well incorporated here. Excuse my voice, I'm just recovering from COVID and now a bit of a chest infection. So what better time to get in there and do a bit of creating when you're not feeling so good. So don't mind my voice, it is a little bit crackly. I'm just starting to get it back. You know, COVID certainly has hit me hard. This is going on my 3rd week off of work. I wish I was one of those people that just got it, you know, a light snuffle and a headache. But no, it's gotten pretty good into my chest and in my head, and will take some time to get out. So yeah, I'm just mixing and making sure everything's well stirred, and then I'll get ready to lay down. You can certainly fast forward this part if you'd like. You don't want to watch me stirring. It takes a little bit of time, but for those that are just beginning and not sure where to start, it's a good place just to watch and see how I mix and how long I mix for. So again, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you're scraping the bottom, that you're getting all the pigment up and well incorporated into the resin. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the Nikon Blue at the very end. I always sort of go dark, medium, light. So I'm thinking I'm going to do the Nikon Blue, then I'll do the Okinawa Blue, and then the Okinawa Green. And that's the green. Just showing you what it looks like all mixed up. Hopefully you can see that okay. Alright, so I'm just getting ready here and just laying most of my cup out. I'll probably save a little bit for any added effects that I want to add on later. But I'm basically breaking this board up into thirds, so I'll do a third in the dark blue, a third in the light blue, and then the green. Alright, so I've got enough on there. Now it's just a matter of spreading it out and making sure I got all the areas covered. And if I need more, I will add more. But this is pretty thick, so it spreads out quite well. Definitely a lot thicker than other resins I've used, and sticky. And I did have to warm it up a little bit in a warm bath while I was mixing because it's a little bit cool here today. So I just gave it a warm bath and stirred it so it got a little bit more fluidy and easier to work with. Alright, so I'm just finishing spreading it out. I'm getting into all the little holes and all the little crevices to make sure I got coverage there too and haven't missed any spots. Alright, now I'm going to be adding the Okinawa Blue. I was just deciding, do I want to go the green or the blue, but I ended up deciding to go the blue first. And again, doing it in thirds. I do love this color. It's so pretty. Definitely going to be a favorite of mine to use and probably get more of this one. It is a stunning color. So the pigments really blended quite well into the resin. I didn't find them at all blotchy or clumpy. It blended quite nicely, so that I definitely like about the pigments. And so far I have been enjoying using them. So, and you can make, you know, your colorants either a little bit more opaque by adding more or a little less to make it a bit more transparent. Now, I do generally use a lot of pastes because they give me more opacity and they're probably a little less glittery. But for today's video, I thought I'll use the pigment powders only, other than the titanium white, which is the paste and which is what you need to get your waves. All right, so this is the Okinawa green. It's probably not as turquoisey green as I am used to using. It's a little bit more on the green side, but still blending nicely and still will give a nice effect. So now I'm just trying to blend out the colors through and get them so they're not looking so deliberately laid. And then I'll probably go and add some of the other colors in between just to break it up. I like to have a really good blending when I do things. Alright, so it's now time to clean off my gloves, and I'm going to heat it up a bit and just get it to spread out and get some of the bubbles out. So I'm going to be using the gun here. So I'm just going to go off and just finish doing what I'm doing, and then I'll come back. Okay, so as you saw there, I added in some extra pigment in different areas, brought up some of the Okinawa Blue into the Nikon Blue and some of the Nikon Blue into the green, just trying to break it up and give it some high and low effects of the water. And yeah, so now I'm just reheating again, getting it to blend, getting the bubbles out. And also cleaning up my edges and inside the holes to make sure I got good resin coverage. Okay, so still adding more layers until I get the desired effect that I'm happy with in my mind. I mean, you can do it differently. It's your creation when you're doing it. It's your vision. You don't have to, you know, do what I do. Every ocean is different. Every result is different. So, you know, there's no right or wrong, really. You can add more dark. You can have it, you know, quite defined with the dark, medium, and light. But I do like to have a little bit of it breaking down. All right, so here I'm now finally ready to do my waves. So this is the key, which most people don't tell you about. So you use the clear resin. You give, you know, quite a good layering of clear resin just on that edge. You can either have it as a very thin line if you want very dainty waves, or you can make it quite a large area. I want my waves to come up over that wood part so that it looks like the wave is coming onto the beach. I'm also adding just a little bit of some curves so it's not so straight and give it a little bit of motion. So here I'm just adding that in and adding some highs and lows and little round edges so that when I do the wave, it's, you know, got a bit of a curve to it. So you just want to make sure that you covered all the wood and it's hitting all those areas. Don't worry about your drips that you get on the wood there. I'm going to clean that up later with some isopropyl alcohol, and that cleans up nicely. I'll clean that up a little later, which you might see me do. All right, so I think I'm just trying to decide whether I'll add the white or I'll heat that up first. All right, so I'm heating it up just to get some of the bubbles out because it does seem to have quite a few bubbles in it. And I'm just trying to make it a little bit more fluidy, making sure I covered all the areas, warming up that resin. This is just what I do and how I get my results, I find. So I'm just giving it some more blending. There's more bubbles that popped up, so I'm just going over it, making sure it's exactly how I want it to be. And then I'll lay down my layer of white. There was a little bit of a hair there, so I was just getting it out. Now, for some reason, I keep getting these little dimples in my resin. I'm not sure if that's just a reaction from what was underneath. There might have been a bit of dirt or a little bit of oil off my finger, and so it was repelling some of the resin. And I'm not too concerned about them. I know when this is all dry and I'm done, I can easily go over that with a flood coat of clear, and that'll fill in any divots and smooth it out. And you won't even know that they're there, but you definitely can see them. But that'll get fixed up later on with a clear coat. So here I just added my line of white. Not too thick, not too thin. There's one area there at the far left that was a bit glumpy, so you'll see me clean that up, just removing a bit as I didn't want it quite so thick. Alright, so I'm just filling in some more areas. Making sure there's enough resin there. Now I'm going to warm it up. Get that resin moving, get it flowing. So when I do blow the white, it pushes up over the other colors nicely over top and doesn't get stuck. So that is also key, because the resin's sort of been manipulated now for about 15 minutes or more. So it is starting to get a bit thicker, starting to cure. So I just want to heat it up and get it flowy. I've just added an extra white, not using the clear, just to see what effects I'm going to get by not doing that with the white in this Ocean Coat resin, because it is deemed to give you good selling. So this will be an experiment to see how well I get the cells there by not using clear. And so far I do an up and down motion with the gun there, just to give the flow of a wave, like a wave was rolling in. So it's got a bit of a rip. Okay, so here I am. I'm starting to blow my white, pushing it up, spreading it out. And then I'll go over and make sure it's nicely evenly distributed as best as I can. And you will see other resin artists use a different nozzle. That's just personal preference, I think. Some people have really good luck by using the narrow nozzle. I'm happy just by using the gun's natural end. But again, it's personal preference and, just technique. Alright, so I've blown it out. I'm just now spreading it out, getting it so I like it. And it's already starting to sell up quite beautifully. I'm very happy with the result. It's sold up beautiful for Ocean Coat waves. Now I'm just going to hit it with the torch. I don't really need to, but this just helps accentuate the cells and helps break up some of the thicker bits of white and spreads it out, so I get more selling, more coverage. Just encourages to come up to the top. I will come down for a close-up later to show you these cells. And now it's just tidying up. Alright, so here I'm just tidying up the edge of the white with a little bit of white on my stick, just to give it a nice smooth line from where I blew, and not looking so uneven, I guess is the word. Yeah, just gives a nice finish line to the edge there. Now, quite possibly if I used more white and blew that up more, I wouldn't have that, but that's just how I do it. So I just went over and sprayed some paper towel with some isopropyl alcohol, and now just cleaning up the board from any spills that I made, and just going over the very edge to give it a nice, tidy, smooth line. Alright, so now I'm just having a look, watching it develop. It is coming up quite nicely. The cells are developing beautifully, and I'm pretty happy. Okay, so I'm trying to come up and give you a close-up. I got a bit of glare coming out through the patio door, so excuse that. Hopefully you can see okay, but yeah, got some really beautiful cells there. Very good lacing. Move my thumb out of the way. Yeah, very good. Quite happy with that result. So for those, that want to get that nice wave, that's what I do. That's how I get good results. And a lot of resin artists seem to use that.